Sorry, this video is a bit late getting to you guys. We're well into July now, and just had a huge couple of days of lots of rain, and it was pretty much another atmospheric river come through our area here, and the rain has pretty much washed the pollen out of our honey flow, but that's okay. Next week, this rain tends to help everything out. Actually, it tends to make everything just pop. You know what I mean? And there's more flowers happening. So yeah, it just lets things pop. And I'm just feeding my swarm. This isn't my favorite way to do it, but you know, I don't feel like climbing up there in the stand and a bucket full of feed, put a top feeder on there. So these things have a purpose, and what it is they're drying out that bottom box is full of undrawn out comb. So I wanted to keep them drying out, and that's why I put that in there, and it's a little more convenient for me too. There's a lot of disadvantages to using an entrance feeder, but you know, there's just many different ways to skin a cat. They'll dry out whether you got a top feeder or an entrance feeder or whatnot, but this is just the easiest for me in the situation I gave. Just there's my fig tree. It's finally just picking itself off the ground there. That's how much rain we had. This fig tree was pretty down on the ground, pretty soaked. It's pretty full of fruit too. We're in a subtropical area here, so that's it. I'll be combining the rest of the videos together and talk to you later. Hey, this is what's happening. So I've just been reworking some of my equipment. These used to be moisture boxes, and yes, they are a little rough because I've been using them for quite a few years. And one year I just threw these things together, and I needed moisture boxes at 1 year, and I wanted to try them out. So I threw a bunch of these together, and they worked out so well that I just continue using them. So what I've done is I've reworked them and added a couple inches to them so that I can use them as a feeder too. So this hole will fit a mason jar feeder, and then a paint can, 1 gallon paint can feeder will fit in the middle of this. And then on top of the shims here, we put a laundry tub, small laundry tub. I'll be right back. Small laundry tub with some hay in it, and it'll feed off of that too. So what this does is, what I used to do is I used to put a stick down here, and these holes here would wick up the moisture, and they would run. The stick would create an air chamber, and it would run. The air would run across here, and then wick up into the insulation, and that would be my my moisture box. And they worked out so well that I just kept using them, and I've got a plug in here, and the reason why you want this plugged off and you don't want to use this air chamber as moisture, what happens is the moisture comes up, and then it gets saturated in that area, and then it will drip right back down onto your bees, and you don't want that. So you want the air to move underneath here, up this way, and back across this way. so it doesn't get saturated in the one area and then drip down onto your bees. So I run a poly wood hive, and that's why there's insulation on the sides. I actually run poly hives and poly wood hives, and these things are rough. Yes, they're pretty rough. I've been running these for quite a few years. So, and I insulated the top just to keep things uniform and to keep the rain off of them. And the reason why I run a poly wood hive and poly hives, well, it's like the insulation in your house. It helps keep the temperature regulated in your house with your heat, your temperature control and your furnace, and the insulation helps keep the temperature in your house at a steady degrees, and that's why I run styrofoam around my hives and insulate my hives, and I run some poly hives too, poly bodies. So that's why. It's because of the high fluctuation in temperature we have where I live. We could be plus 13 one day and minus 5 Celsius the next day, and very volatile. And also I'm running moisture boxes. Our winter times get highly moist, lots of moisture. In fact, the air gets saturated with moisture. So yeah, that's another reason why I've been working on moisture resistance. So this is one of the bee boxes. This is actually my first poly hive that I have. The problem with these, unless you got all of your hives like this, then you're building specific equipment for this, and it's a one-time thing. And I built this for a hive top feeder specifically. So it fit on top of this, and it was a hive top feeder. So I added this much so that I can use it as a feeder and a moisture box for the hive, and then I run a foamy on top of here, and for this hive. So that works out well. And this is a beaver plastics hive. These are nice. They're nice people actually to deal with if you call. And yeah, I have to, like, specific things like the lid and everything has to be made specifically for this thing. The bottom boards I can get away with using the bottom boards as they are, pretty much. Same with that, but this one here, I've got to make a custom bottom board for it. I'm gonna make it. It does come with a bottom board as a screen bottom board, but I've gotten completely away from screen bottom boards. I actually don't like them because of ground moisture. How much moisture comes up from the ground and just hits the hive. So yeah, I've got completely away from them, and I stopped using landing boards too, because on my hives, because yeah, the rain hits that and it goes into the hive, that landing board. So with these, the landing board actually stays back about an inch from the entrance, and it's the wood, so the rain doesn't even hit it at all. It actually shears off. So, but there's literally, they don't need one. There's literally no difference. It's like the bees in a tree, and they don't have a landing board. They have like one hole to get in and out, pretty much. The swarms that land in trees. Well, here's one of the hive bodies. This is the only one that needed to be fixed. All the rest of them stayed together good from the bear attack. I actually had to carve out the sides and re-glue them, re-screw them, screw the sides of this one so I can use it again. And I decided with this one, instead of carving out the damage from the bear, I decided to leave the outline there. Just as a reminder, don't be apathetic towards bears, basically. As you can see, there's his claw marks. But anyway, why was I working on moisture resistance and not veromite? Well, the fun fact on that one is, with brood breaks, and if you're treatment free, you're doing brood breaks, and if you're treating, and we're all doing our mite counts, and so on and so forth. We kind of got that under control when we're keeping our mites down. So, and there's a lot of people working on it with many more different letters, beside their name than me. And rightfully so. They should be the ones working on that issue with VHS and hygienic behavior. I would add that to my apiary later as a tool. Well, the buckfast bees that I've been working with already sort of has the hygienic behavior in them already. So that's a good thing. But anyway, I'm going to add that later, the VHS in as a tool, but not right now because of the moisture resistance is, a local problem. So, people are doing mite treatments and everything else, and then wonder why their bees are dying. Well, it's the moisture. Your bees are dying in the wintertime because of the moisture, and that's the way it is. That in our, we get a lot of imported bees here too. So not from the same hemisphere, which there's nothing wrong with those bees. It's just that they're not from the same hemisphere. So the survival rate is very low. Like, it's very low that they'll survive. I think it's maybe 5% sometimes that hive will survive. So you got to pretty much switch up that queen. I'd switch up that queen in summertime whenever you can to a local queen breeder or from a queen that is from the same hemisphere. So that's why I've expanded my genetics to Ukrainian. I got a Ukrainian queen in there. She's a rock star. I actually I got another video. I'm probably going to be adding it to this one, where I've actually taken her out. I've actually had to take brooding bees out of that hive for other hives. It's just something you have to do, even though you don't want to. You kind of had to. And then right after that, I caught swarms. I got quite a few swarms in my swarm traps. So I'm using them as resource hives, and it looks like they're New Zealand's. All the rest of my New Zealand's I've gotten rid of, except for the ones that are in my swarm trap, the swarms that I caught in my swarm traps. I've actually already transferred them over to different equipment and all that. So my those swarms, I'm using them as resource hives, and they're doing well. And I just don't trust the genetics. That's all. That's just the way it works sometimes. But anyway, I've been doing this for over 13 years, and I could get the moisture resistance of bee already from a different country that has the same volatile weather that we have, through instrumental insemination and through the drone semen, shipping the drone semen over. The problem that I have is I have some of the equipment. The problem with getting the rest of the equipment is, well, money, finances. Especially now, I just came off of shoulder surgery for my left shoulder. I had my right shoulder done already. I think I've mentioned that in the video. And it's been, the left shoulder was perfectly successful because it was caught right away when the issue was happening. But my right shoulder took like 13 years or more to get diagnosed and looked after. So I still get twinges and stuff happening with my right shoulder, just that nudge of pain kind of thing. And I was actually off of work for 2 years because my hand would blow up, turn purple, and I was getting a lot of nerve damage up in my shoulder. It wasn't a good time. And then it took 2 years of me not working, doing my trade, which I usually make my money off of. So, and things are a little in the famine right now, but even though I got some work, which is good. But I got some work, which is good, but it's because I've been out of the loop with my contractors, so things have been a little bit slow getting things back going again for work. So I got my work going, and things are starting to roll slowly, but they're starting to roll again for me. So that's a bit of my story. Talk to you later. Just an add-on. What I was doing to encourage the moisture resistance was I was waiting in the wintertime until they came to that brink of moisture stress. And then after that, I was putting on the moisture boxes. But yes, I did get survivors. So that just comes down to you counting on the type of genetics that you have in your apiary. And which I had buckfast in my apiary, so I knew I was going to get survivors. I was trying to encourage that moisture resistance that was already in them. But that's a wintertime job. Summertime, you just work on building up your hives. And I was buying imported packages. But then, as soon as I built them up, I'd switch out the queens, pretty much. So that's about it. Talk to you later. So this is what's happening. The beginning of this video compilation was done in early July, around July 6th. Actually, maybe earlier than that. It was done in the middle of our honey flow when the atmospheric river went through and just washed out the pollen of our of all the flowers, pretty much. But that's okay. After that, everything popped. Yeah, right now there's dandelion going on. This is July 25th. Dandelion, thistle, and everything's so light that there's even blackberry blossom still going. Everything's just so late here on the island. Blackberry is our main, one of our main honey flows. Our best main honey, one of our best main honey flows, and one of our other honey flows is, and best tasting honey is fireweed up in the mountains. We also have ground strawberries up in the mountains. That happen right around the time the blackberries happen. And I gotta do the like and subscribe thing. I guess some people are interested in what I have to say, I guess. I'm nothing special. All I'm doing is trying to we have a problem here, and I'm trying to improve our chances of our winter survival on the island where we live here. That's pretty much all I'm trying to do. That's one of the last bottom boards that I have with a landing board. I'm actually going to switch that up pretty soon. I have a bunch of new ones, and the wasps are out. Yeah, they're a real problem. They're a real pain in the rear problem. I'm gonna have to put quite a few traps out this time around because they can be a real pest on your hives. So this channel is mostly about, and I'm a small producer I was trying to get to sideliner and trying to get to making my money specifically on bees, but I just kept getting knocked back every year. So I was just trying to, now I'm just trying to up the survival rate of our bees on the island here, and then get to that point later. Then we'll try, but right now, this year I'm not going to be doing any moisture selection. I'm just going to be putting my moisture boxes on immediately on the hives as soon as all the rains really start going. Well, they're going to have it on anyway because we're probably going to be feeding towards the end of August. Right now we're getting rain at the right time. Saturday we're expecting a bit of rain, and then the long range forecast after that is supposed to be 2 or 3 days worth of rain. So we're about to get rain at the right time, which will keep the pollen and the feed going into our hives. So, but that can always change, and you got to be prepared to put pollen patties on and feed on them when you can. And that's just the way it has to be. You got to be prepared for those things that are happening. This is actually the Ukrainian queen that I got in, and I actually took some brooding bees out of her already. So what I did was I only took one frame of brood and bees and took her out of that hive, put a queen excluder down in a piece of paper, and put her above the swarm there. I'm using my swarms as resource hives, and I'm just help keep the rest of the apiary going and keep them going and happy and strong. But this one here, they've got a bunch of queen cells in there. I don't know if they've emerged yet or not. I'm going to leave them alone for a week or two, and then I'll go in there and do an inspection and see what's going on. But anyway, she's up there, and they've already eaten through the newspaper, and the queen excluder's there keeping the two queens active. This is a 2-queen hive. Yeah, so they haven't quite built up yet. They haven't come up and built up this area. So probably leave this till the end of the month. Probably leave this alone for about a fair bit yet. I might even take some brood bees, or shake some brood off a frame. Take a frame, 2 frames, 3 frames off of there, shake them off, and then put them up here. And then just do a switcheroo on the frames. That should be fine, and that would bring more bees up this way, and they'll just propagate this whole top area. So that's just what's happening here and what's going on. I'm just building up my hives this year. I'm not going to do any selections. That'll be not this winter, the winter after, because I'm going to actually be like I said, I'm going to be choosing different genetics and expanding the genetics that I use in the apiary. It just happened that I just kept getting, like I said, I'm a small producer. And I kept getting knocked back every year. And I wanted to get to Sideliner, and I wanted to get to the point where I could just make my money just solely on making bees. Because my trade is very hard on my body. So, but, you know, that's got to wait. That can wait. That can wait and a bit longer. And my channel is mostly about working with what you have and building upon what you've already got. I had a video out based on recycling plastic. You can't recycle. There's nothing wrong with using plastic frames and bees. There's just nothing wrong with it. I've heard all the arguments. But what happens if that frame is suspect and you're calling out those frames? You just throw out that frame? Well, you can't really use the frame, but you can use the foundation part of it. So you can recycle the foundation part of it, and I covered that in one of my videos. And I'll be going more in depth. I covered how I recycle my wooden frames in another video using my steamer. But I'm going to be putting out a video where it goes into more in depth of how the diseases get killed and the temperature that my steamer brings those frames up to, so that it kills all the diseases and pathogens that are there. And pretty much that's my hopefully my next video will be about that. Don't hold me to that, but I hope to have that. That'll be my next video. I'll be going more into depth on how I recycle my frames when I call out my frames that are suspect, my wooden frames, how I'm able to recycle my wooden frames and keep my diseases down while doing that. Okay, well, thanks. Like and subscribe. Talk to you later.